What your thoughts are, they do deserve the book to be thrown at them for that. Because you cannot go around signing players and not paying them. Hello and welcome back to the long-awaited return for episode 15 of the Try Time podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Callum.
And today we are going to discuss all what's happened, not even just over the course of the lockdown, in the last week of Super League, because it has been one hectic week and has raised a lot of questions.
Definitely.
And we're going to jump straight in with the biggest news story of the week and the Toronto controversy.
Yeah, honestly, we weren't sure when we were going to come back into the studio. Obviously, we knew Super League was going to start, and then everything's happened this week.
What a call to come back from.
We've had to come back in because we probably need about 3 podcast episodes to get it all in, but we're getting stuck in with Toronto, and I don't even know what to say about it, really. It's just
First of all, are we prepared for an angry Canadian mob to come and torch our houses?
Yeah. I don't think it should. Like, we're just going to speak about the situation and like our views, which I don't think I necessarily.
Oh, come on, we're not very well liked by certain Toronto fans. We've already been kicked out of their Facebook groups twice.
Yeah, but I mean, I have nothing against
that group. You know who you are.
I have nothing against Toronto personally, so
I don't. Just the admin to that page.
Let's get stuck into it then.
Yes.
So Toronto, and they've released a statement. They've basically withdrew themselves from Super League, or what's going to be played of Super League. Obviously, we've had the
whole league is hopefully going to be played.
Yeah, but it's going to be different in it. Let's be honest, it's going to be a lot different times and stuff. Yeah. More games. They withdrew, and I think, in a way, I honestly, right, a lot of has been said about the players and obviously the pay, which I think we're going to move on to a bit more, that side of it. But let's just, first of all, I want to just say, let's imagine you're playing a game on a weekend, a game midweek, which at times would have been happening when we get back to play.
Yeah.
And it's already been noted on this podcast and by everyone really who watches rugby league. Toronto have got a really shallow squad.
I mean, we rebuilt it for that very reason.
Exactly. And
Toronto, would you have had to fold this in had you have hired one of us to do your job for you? Answers in the comments below. We can't do polls anymore. YouTube have removed them.
Oh,
that's a shame.
But basically, they were having troubles to field a team before the whole lockdown. So they would have struggled, I think, anyway. I know they did make signings and everything like that, but
that was controversial enough, never mind this. Blooming Tony Gigo.
Yeah.
Christ,
I do understand the whole visa situation. To a degree, it does make sense. But again, I can understand the whole. It's 50-50, I think, within the community, because some are saying, you got to think of not just the fans, the players, especially with all this pay and everything like that. And it's not obviously fair on them. You've got that, and then you've got people who are thinking, well, Toronto have done this. They've sort of. People see it through sort of rose tinted, or should I say M62 tinted glasses, if you want to say that. And
I've seen a lot of people wanting London back up, so I think just English glasses at this point.
Yeah. They're like, oh well, Toronto are going to get away with this, no punishment. They're going to basically drop out of that league, just choose not to play, and it's an embarrassment for the sport, which I think to a degree it is, but also I think what's more of an embarrassment is the way that kind of like. There's no definitive decision. You saw at Premier League, they had a meeting, they sorted it, and the Premier League's been back already, and the season's already finished. Liverpool are lifting, as we speak right now, Liverpool are probably lifting the trophy, which I know you're
a lot happier about than the other one.
So I think that shows a lot more, and I know it's obviously a lesser sport, as in there's not as much income outside of fans coming in, which I completely understand, and that we'll move on to that more later on when we speak about Championship and League One and that whole situation. But I just think I don't know how to feel about this Toronto thing. I just think I get it, and I feel bad for the players. I feel bad for the fans, because I've been there as a Bradford fan when we've gone through it all in deduction, and I don't really want them to get points deducted. But then again, it's a difference. Like,
is it an unfair advantage if they don't? Because we can sit here all we want and argue that Bradford shouldn't have had points deducted, but the second this is. It's not often I'll say this, but I'll sympathise with them on this one. Because if they give the points deduction, you're going to get a very angry set of fans saying that it's not fair. Because no club's planned for a pandemic that for YouTube monetization reasons, even though we don't actually get any money, we cannot give it its full name.
Yeah,
so we are just going to call it the BFG.
Yeah.
Even though it is not friendly. No clubs have planned for the BFG. So is that harsh? But on the other hand, if they do decide to let them off because of it, you're going to get people shouting again, oh, where's the consistency? We have enough of that with blooming referees, let alone this.
Yeah. But there's different ways to look at it, because we're going to move on to the players and the pay and how they've been, and how it's coming out now about the players and stuff. But the players might not want to play. It almost seems right that the players have been like distinctly lied to, and it's like, I think there is a difference with, well, obviously this kind of moves on to like the Watkins situation, but with Bradford, the players, when it happened, never had any remorse towards the club as such. I think that were more like it happened and it sort of
they didn't manage the finances.
It was the owners' fault, but the owners decided then, right, let's get rid of players. The owners didn't then outbid other teams and go to extreme amounts just to sign a player, which is what has come out about Watkins. That pop filter troubles already, you can tell we're back. But that's...
Toronto don't have their own version of the Omar Khan fan club. Fantasy Super League will be returning, of course, with the start of the new season. Don't forget to make any of your transfers, and if you haven't joined the league, Callum will be overlaying a screenshot of the details as I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll pop them on. We'll get all the way back into that, and a bit more closer to the time, we'll do maybe an episode.
Yeah, we'll have an intro back.
But yeah, it's just like, if they've gone out and they're still trying to sign players, even though they know all this and the uncertainty, and at the time everyone was saying, how are Toronto buying these players? And it almost seems like they've just sort of, that's why it leaves a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. And honestly, it's not to do with any of the fans.
Here's a big question.
It's not.
Do we believe that it's actually down to visas?
That's
because after what's heard now, I read the statement earlier. They talk a lot about the financial side of the BFG, nothing about the visa issues.
Yeah.
Now, for goodness sake, they're run by a billionaire. They have more disposable cash in their boardroom than what any other club in the league has, I'd suspect. Certainly more than Wakefield, Castleford.
Well, I guess...
And then even you've got the likes of Featherstone, London, saying that they're feeling that they're being let down by not being allowed to finish in their season. More on that to come later in the podcast.
Yeah, it's a very... It's a
For
very
me, that doesn't make sense, because how you have that structure, go out and sign players like Sonny Bill Williams, and then even recently getting Callum Watkins from NRL.
He'll
be on a big wage. He was a marquee player at Leeds before he left, and I doubt he's come back from a pay cut.
He doesn't really. It's not like he don't earn it, and he's on. We're not saying he's on stupid money. We're saying he's
he
on.
He might
like,
well be. We don't know.
For he's probably getting paid what he's worth, which we're not here to go into that. But for Toronto to sign him, and then he hasn't even played a game, and then there's trouble with paying him, and apparently getting paid late, and then this is what I mean about...
Here's another thing, though. Before this even happened, do we remember that before they signed Watkins, all the Toronto players agreed to take pay cuts? Did they even agree to this, or was it forced upon them, and then Watkins was signed?
Yeah, and then there's a whole trouble now where...
It's very shady.
And there's a knock-on... There seems to be a knock-on effect as in... When we were saying to Watkins, it was an Instagram post put out by his wife. Yeah, that's correct.
I'll let you intro it and I'll pull some quotes
up. But they were speaking as well about like how they've had to tell players like... There's players such as like Stevie Ward, Richie Marler, who was going to sign for Toronto for next season... Well, apparently, but they're the players who has been released.
Please still take them.
But like them players aren't going to want to sign, and no one's going to want to sign in that business model now. And it's not the same as Bradford, because Bradford solely seemed to be the owner, and Bradford have also got the history to attract a player. For example, Bradford have signed Danny Bruff during lockdown for next season. That's a great signing, and that shows how Bradford are sort of progressing, and they don't necessarily have like the bad rep of
you're not signing Daniel Tupou from Sydney or something ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like, whereas Toronto, they're almost going to be looked at as a place where players don't want to play because of these difficulties. I feel like are more forced self-afflicted.
Well, this is what we're hearing from inside the camp then. So, the 22-man squad have had their wages paid consistently late for several months.
And that
several
goes
months
before...
being a similar time scale to when rugby league was suspended for reasons we all know about.
I would say before that, though, 7 months is a long
They
time.
don't give a... I won't for monetisation.
Yeah.
Fill
Just
in the
for
blanks
general,
yourself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people owed money. It's a disaster. I don't think people understand the mental stress it puts on people. Some of the players with kids, mortgages, etc. It's crazy. We get told the money will be a week late, the week comes and no money, and then the next week and the next. We are told on the night the money's coming, it just doesn't come.
That's horrible. I can't imagine how that feels to have kids and stuff. Obviously, we're not in that position where we do.
They're not Premier League footballers that are on hundreds of £1,000s a week that can afford to miss a month's wages.
Even not even just that, a Premier League footballer with like endorsements could live off the endorsements that they get, like being sponsored by Nike.
For God's sake, Aubameyang drives a gold Lamborghini. I don't think he's too worried if one of his Arsenal paychecks comes in a couple of weeks late.
Exactly. Whereas
this isn't like that. I'm sure Hakim Maloudi is not driving round in a gold Lamborghini Hurricane.
Yeah. Well, that's you think some rugby league players are not getting paid. Like, obviously we'll go to Championship and League One, but like they're not. It's not as much money as you think with other sports as it can be with other sports.
Yeah.
Which is a deep-rooted issue with rugby league, is there isn't enough money in it. But then it's like a team like Toronto could build that record.
Yeah, they've got the money to invest in it.
It's literally on the knife edge. If Toronto works to the best of its ability, it can bring so much funding, and that would honestly make rugby league a great, it build it up and there'd be money there for players to come in for all clubs. It'd just raise the funding. Like Sky have wanted to get involved, but this is the downside. It's almost like they've gone up the we've signed Sonny Bill, we're going to sign Watkins, we're going to get a great team, we've got all the Sky money. People want to watch.
This ties in perfectly to another one.
But then they've just gone too far. They've gone too far and just fallen off the cliff at the other end.
I've had to be the one to inform people I know in RL that have signed to this club not yet announced to try and save their arse of being in the same position. Not one person from the club has contacted them. She knows them. That says to me that's Warden Myler from his time at Leeds.
Even if it's not just them, but it's still the same principle of players aren't going to want to go there.
Yeah, you're all free to leave. We're in the middle of BFG. Wow. Yeah, it's a perfectly fair point.
They're almost
throwing money around.
Him.
We've seen Gigo's already linked with Wakefield. It is happening as we speak. And these are the two that got me the most. First of all, imagine being brought into a club that could never pay you on time anyway, but they would enter into a bidding war. The one you touched on earlier.
Yeah.
But to top it all off, they are currently facing a lawsuit in Canada over unpaid bills and previous legal action over money owed and claims from other creditors. This is not a new issue if that is going to court already.
Yeah.
These debts have clearly been outstanding pre-Super League era. And
it's sad. It's very sad, actually. I think, just for the sport.
I think it is entirely self-inflicted by the Toronto business model. Because people talk about the importance of academies all the time. One of Toronto's biggest defence for all this money spending is you cannot have an academy producing Super League quality players in a club that's 4 years old.
Which is fair.
It's very fair. But in that case, surely it's more sensible to build your grassroots. You're in a city with a population of 8 million. For God's sake, Wigan and St Helens find players to put through all the time, and they're both in Lancashire.
On top of each other. Yeah.
Yes, they will have wider scouting networks, but the fact that they can have academies, along with the likes of Salford, Widnes. You look in Yorkshire, Leeds, Castleford, Bradford.
All have got academies.
All clubs. Halifax, I think, even now as well. Or they certainly did have
Halifax. They've got it's not academy, but it's reserves, which means they bring up the players in.
I mean, regardless, there's still a hell of a lot of clubs.
There's a set there, like we're speaking about how you need a deep squad. They have their reserves, which means they have probably 40 plus players on the books that they could play in the league.
Yeah, London have got a big city. They've got
a 16
fourth in the competition last year in the youth. You've seen Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook, Kieran Dixon, in recent years make the transition to relatively elite level Super League.
Well, you've got to look at some of a lot of the players in that London team at the minute.
That team is up and coming. They've got a great academy.
Are from the academy, yeah.
Exactly. Would Toronto have been better accepting they are going to be a championship club for the next 5 years and putting that infrastructure in place? Because we've already seen that they had to be given exemptions for Canadian players like Quinn Nagami, although in reality he's probably not being paid anyway, so...
He's probably on a,
He's probably on a pay-as-you-play, and that's why they never play him, because they can't pay him. But even so, surely that's a better option. Then you've at least got a sustainable player source that aren't going to take up Sonny Bill Williams' probably £10 million contract that you've probably not sold half as many T-shirts as you thought you were going to with his name on.
Yeah, but also it just looks bad on the sport, because a lot of people, like I've spoke to people, like just general people who aren't really into the rugby, and I might just be in a conversation of like, oh, say I'll just mention something like we might be on about the rugby, might be on about, for example, speaking to someone at uni who lives in Headingley by the stadium, and they're on about, I was asking him about, what's it like with parking around there when the rugby's on. And I was saying, tonight Toronto are playing against Leeds there. Toronto, Canada, really? And I was like, then I explained it to him, like, and I would have signed like Sonny Bill Williams, who's like used to be one of the best players in the world. Like, that's like good, and like they actually get into it. But then now, if someone like that, like just a casual fan who could be coming into the game, then sees they're having these financial issues, it looks like
there's one thing that, and I think this says a lot here about a lot of the people's worried that this isn't just your M62 flat cappers and the like. What sort of image does this set to Ottawa and New York that they're coming into?
Yeah, exactly.
They have set a precedent here of Toronto, and they really need to sort it out. Because if even 1% of what's put on that story is true, it is unacceptable.
Yeah, and it needs addressing.
No matter what your thoughts are, they do deserve the book to be thrown at them for that. Because you cannot go around signing players and not paying them. I mean, we were talking before filming about potentially doing a short video of one player every club in Super League should sell. Toronto, sell your first team to someone who can actually afford to pay them.
Oh, God, you've got it on this, haven't you? Oh, dear. Well, thing is, though, you've got to look at the players now, what's going to happen with their pay and whatnot. Because they're not playing in Super League now, they're not going to play. And imagine if you're that... I mean, in theory, they've got contracts, they're owed money, but clearly, as we can see, that means absolute sod all to Toronto. They could have got... Thing is, right, and I think now we've sort of nearly 20 minutes on Toronto. I think now we should move
it off there in a minute.
Move it on to, like, the teams replacing them and the implications of if a team does replace them.
Well, just before we get into Super League, this is one question I saw that is a really good answer. They've withdrawn from the Challenge Cup. Does this mean Huddersfield are back in?
I think the Challenge Cup will be cancelled personally, and
they've already got a provisional date for the final, October 17th apparently, with fans supposedly as well, which will be interesting.
I personally think scrap Challenge Cup, play the league a bit reduced, and just it's always going to have. If you win the league this year, it's always going to have the asterisk of.
I don't think the league will as much. But I think the Cup definitely will. Because the other problem you've got, which ties nicely into our next point, you've got championship teams still in this competition that are not playing week in, week out rugby.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's wrong. You can't have unfit, not match-sharp teams up against Super League's elite, especially when these guys are probably semi-pro. They might not be being paid because they're not training. You can't expect a club just to pay them for months for a cup game.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
You can't bankrupt the sport.
That's why I think that it'll just end up getting cancelled, because obviously
so do I.
We are going to move on to the championship and what's happening there and how they're not going to restart and stuff. But again, like even in Super League, when that restarts, there's no relegation. Last year were a really good year for Super League because every single team had something to play for, whether it was you could get relegated. There were like 5 teams who could have got relegated to.
But then just because there's no relegation, how much of that is because there are currently at least 2 clubs that have applied to take Toronto's place in Super League? As
2 that have been announced.
Yeah, Featherstone and London have both gone for it. London for being in Super League last year, and if their place has been replaced by a club that can't complete the season, they feel they're entitled to it back.
Yeah.
And Featherstone as the losing grand finalists.
And also currently top.
I'm also hearing reports Toulouse have applied to take over as well.
Toulouse would be really interesting. If it was any
to be honest, either of those three teams I'd be happy to see in Super League. Because I think that my only worry with Featherstone is there's a lot of dual registration players there, and I question if their squad is, as of yet, I don't know. Super League would be great for the club into helping them build that squad, but in reality, a club's going to be willing to do dual reg with so many games on.
I just think if you're going to let teams from Championship and stuff in there, it's like, then I feel classed as like a Super League club now, then next season they just go in Championship.
Well, I assume this will be for 2021 rather than this year, the application. And Toronto would then
it should then have a tournament and say I understand where both teams are coming from, but why not then invite, like, they're not going to start Championship season, say the top 6-7 teams at Championship, or the top ones, what I'm saying is like Toulouse, London, Feb,
well, we had
Halifax,
about 8 that we couldn't separate at the start of the season, which is a perfect number for a tournament.
No, even if you have a tournament, what I'm saying is there's 12 teams in Super League. Add them 8 teams and just play each other once, and just don't have a Super League have it like a Super League title if you want to include them. I feel like if you
whack it on some neutral grounds that are remotely near to clubs, so that fans can still go. If you're going to do that, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm seeing Championship clubs left, right, and centre saying they're feeling that they're letting people down by not finishing the season.
Because people have paid season
tickets. Have the RFL
tickets
actually told any of these clubs in advance?
They would have done.
I could understand League One clubs saying that, bar Newcastle, really, they don't have a massive budget, so would struggle to finish the season.
I think teams like Hunslet were top at league. They're celebrating as champions at the minute.
Yeah, well done, Hunslet. Congrats on your championship. You will have an asterisk, but I mean, run with it.
After about 3 games or something.
I'm pleased for you. Go run with it. Go do what Leeds United did and go hang out and get drunk in the street. Go for it.
I think it's like,
please practice social distancing while doing so.
How are you going to decide between Fev and London? Because every team in Championship would apply if they could, but not all of them have grounds to.
No, I mean,
Toulouse probably can.
Well, come on, this is the RFL's wet dreaming. A £1 million game, it's reborn. They've got the Championship grand final. It's Fev versus London for 2021.
But then you'll have other teams coming in saying like, why can't we play?
I mean, let's face it. I think them to have the strongest cases for it.
Thing is, like, for example, right, say I'm a Bradford fan, I can't make any case at Bradford because we've lost to Fev and London this year.
And so what's your excuse for going up? Oh yeah, we were bankrupt, so wouldn't have gone down otherwise. That's your best case.
Yeah, but end of the day, everything it's happened. I personally can't see him picking between them two because other one they could, like, you can't. I think if it's any, it'd have to be London. Because I
disagree. I think Feather have got the stronger case because they would have taken the spot this year had Toronto announced at the season's start that they couldn't compete in the league.
But Feather have got dual reg players that can't have dual reg if they're in Super League.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm talking about their case for being in the division, not necessarily the logistics of competing in it. I mean, sod it, have the £1 million game, and that can decide it for next year.
Just have a £1 million tournament. But it's not as 250,000, and that is nice.
We won't even get on. There is a tournament. We don't have anywhere near enough details to make a podcast section on it.
But basically, 250,000, and it's inviting Championship and League One clubs. So you'll get some clubs doing it, some clubs.
Yeah, it's optional as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So who's actually going to turn up? That's the question.
I reckon it'll just be...
I just dare Fev and London to be all the ones that go for it. There we go, we've sorted it.
I reckon you'll get some sort of stupid like Swinton Batley in a final or something like that.
You'll go. Watch, they'll open it up even more and you'll play that amateur team that you had in Challenge Cup again.
Oh, Underbank.
That was the one.
We went on to be fair, it'd have been great. I mean, last game we both went to Rugby League, what?
The last game that happened, I think.
No, there might have been... No, because it was the Friday, no games up that weekend.
Alright.
Because it got lockdown started on the Monday.
Oh yeah, because we were due to film.
Because we were in Wakefield, basically at the start of what the lockdown was going to happen, and it was all in the news like we're going to get locked down.
I was damn sure I was getting Corona. Can't say that word. Corona beer from that game.
Yeah, and basically there were no hot water.
No, there were no. Wakefield, please fix your hot water supply. In fact, please get a new ground.
Well, that's a different matter.
You're in a big club.
So yeah, no Championship and League One not restarting, and it's a strange one that because I'm obviously a fan of the Championship.
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with no promotion.
I understand
I don't agree with the Championship not being restarted. I kind of can see League One more.
But they're all part time, so they can't.
But they should have been all consulted, and it should be a majority decision on the matter.
I think it's one of them where it's like. I get that clubs won't be able to pay players, but then the furlough's going to run out eventually, and it's like it's a whole issue that is an issue, I guess, across the whole world in a way. But
I mean, it affects rugby league more than other sports in some ways, but I don't know. On the plus side, when we do run out of Super League content, the NRL is still going ahead. And
we could have done NRL content over it, but it's just.
We probably would have done had Toronto have not decided to flood the headlines and give us a hell of a lot of content.
We've took realistically 2 months off now because we were doing some stuff in lockdown, but it just wasn't the same. And we thought the ideas we had that we were going to do
the
in
content
lockdown,
wasn't a good enough quality. The only thing we had was NRL content, which I know minimum amount.
We know
stuff
we could do,
content.
and it'd been good, but also it's like. We had other ideas of stuff to do. Like we had so many
got
ideas.
Slaughtered by the Aussies that watch this week in, week out, and actually know a hell of a lot more than we do about what we're supposed to be talking about.
But it's like it's so much better being in person. Like we could do a thing together, and it's better in person. We want to do them ideas when we actually have the stuff to do. We have got a lot of good ideas to do, and I really want to now come back and just absolutely smash it up.
Keep an eye out for the top 10s, the list, the other little video, and also. Sneak preview, there will be a rugby league themed road trip coming up on the channel.
Which I think will be a bit groundbreaking and hopefully a lot of people get enticed in it. We don't know when that's going to happen. We're going to sort of plan out how we're going to do it and stuff. We've got other ideas and stuff to do as well, really. And obviously once the league starts, you'll have your classic dream team set. These have gone again. Audio
and you'll have the classic Callum knocking his pop filter over.
Pop filters, they're an absolute nightmare. But it's back up now.
You insist on using these ones?
No, because I think they do make a difference to the quality. But
it's because you won't buy the 50 quid one.
But also we're going to get sort of some retro, not necessarily retro, maybe some current retro shirts. And we're going to get maybe get a bit of display behind, so it's not just a plain wall.
That's probably vibrating and vibing like it's taken something in a nightclub toilet.
But we're just going to try and improve the quality. And so usually when we go back to normal weekly podcasts, we'll have your dream team, we'll have your reviews and previews.
And who knows, he might have hair again.
And I might have hair again, because I did shave it off. And it is getting in that sort of mid-growy stage where it's like...
Unfortunately, his hairline will never recover.
Nah, it won't. But we'll be alright. And we're just going to try and improve quality, really. I don't think there's much else to add. We're just going to get... This is going out on a Saturday, so if you're watching it or listening to it when
we will be
hopefully
Saturday, back to normal upload.
We should be back to
lockdown.
Podcast Wednesday, because that works better when there's games on a weekend and stuff, or if games are midweek now as well. But we'll just do
it. Games are midweek, we're just gonna
games are midweek on Sky. We will get together, watch games, and sort of do our record our live reactions and edit it down. I think that'd be interesting to do.
We've got a whole KR rebuild in the pipeline, but without boring you through every single video idea and aware our outro's gone on almost as long as our entire podcast at this point.
We don't want to give you too much, you gotta wait. But make sure also, obviously we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. We're gonna maybe work on getting like a website sort of thing, so we can sort of.
This is news to me.
Yeah, I'm surprised him. You know what I mean? We're gonna maybe get website, just improve sort of the quality and general feel. We're sort of gonna go for it a bit more, and I think that's it from me, unless you've got anything to add.
I definitely do it. We've bored them to death with that outro.
But 30 minutes.
Get ready for Super League restart, 2nd of August, 3 games at Headingley. Don't go watch because you're not getting in, and we will not be able to perform live reactions for that one. That's my fault. I am busy watching some cars go around Donington.
Yeah, which is fair enough. Some people have priorities, Well,
at least I'm attending a live sports event.
Yeah,
that's more than can be said for poor fans here.
True. I think, that's it. So we'll catch you later. Make sure you're subscribing, liking, comment if you enjoyed, and
or comment if you didn't. We're fine. Let us know.
comment for the conversation.
Yeah.
Right. See you later. Bye.
Bye.